sound person. I have, lots of times, okay? It does not make a good atmosphere for a service, all right? I've had to remove people from the booth at certain times because of a bad attitude, all right? And so the reason why I reference that is because not a lot of people realize that influences this. As a matter of fact, that influences this more than anything else but the Holy Spirit. That influences it more than a crowd does. I've said this before. We were preaching at a service at church most recently. It was a new church that we had never ministered to before. And I gave props to the sound person because a sound person can make or break the anointing. They can make a good singer sound like whodunit. They can make a phenomenal preacher sound ugly. Okay? And so sound technicians, media technicians, those individuals serve on a very high level of creating an atmosphere. Be in your right mind, body, and spirit. So when you serve, make sure that you're wearing at least a Harvest shirt. We want you to wear one of our team servant shirts, but if you don't have a team shirt, at least wear your Harvest shirt when you're serving in that position. It helps to denote that you're serving and you're doing something. It sets you apart. Does that make sense? Especially when we're wearing our serve team shirts. Because then there's some people who be like, how do you get one of those shirts? Well, you got to be on a team. You want to be on a team? Get a shirt, you go on a team. See, it works like that. So we encourage everybody that's serving in those positions to wear the team. I would prefer for you to wear the team shirt that says Sound Crew on the back and so forth. Well, if you don't have those, we'll make sure that we get those to you, or we get those available to you. But we want everybody to do that. We also need to make sure that everybody's in Planning Center. Okay? Planning Center is how can I describe it? It is the Bible for how we organize and structure Harvest. Across the board. All 3 campuses use Planning Center. We know what's going on. I could click on the Planning Center and know who's singing soprano at this campus on Sunday morning. I can know who's running sound. I can know who's running sound at Dixie. It's not for control, it's for information. It helps us to know, it helps us to schedule, and helps us to know where everybody is. So the reason why I reference that is, say you are scheduled to run multimedia on that Sunday. You could go into Planning Center ahead of time, see all the Psalms that are going to be that Sunday, see the scripture references and all those things, so that you can start getting your head on straight before you arrive at church. You could also, if you're like me and you're the type of person you're like, you know what, everything's in Planning Center. Pastor Lucius, are you all right if I go up and I store everything in the media computer long before Sunday? Pastor Lucius would be like, yeah, please do that. Okay? That will give you the opportunity to do that. Planning Center lets you know the ins and outs of everything that is happening as far as the service is concerned. Everybody needs to be a part of Planning Center. When a sound tech, okay, and I'm just going to go at this from this order. Sound techs and multimedia people need to arrive at 9 a.m. to prepare for the sound check. Okay? 9:15 is what time sound check starts. 9:15 is not what time everybody gets here. Okay? If you arrive at 9:15, you're late. Right? 9 o'clock is when all of our tech people need to be in position, getting everything ready. Sound tech needs to come in and, number one, confirm that everything is functional. That's a digital board. It's a computer board. Sometimes it can be on and these speakers can be working, but none of these speakers. Nothing else on the stage can be working because it's a computerized board. So the sound tech needs to arrive, get some music going. Okay, the house is working. Back the house down. Turn the monitors on. Turn monitor 1 on, or the frontline monitors. Make sure those are working. Back that down. Pull up the background monitors and make sure those are working. Pull up the keyboard monitors and make sure that those are working. Making sure everything is working long before the singers are on stage doing sound check. That way when the singers are doing sound check, they're like, well, this monitor's not working. Well, I don't know what the problem is. And now all of a sudden, a 30-minute rehearsal has turned into an hour-long rehearsal, and now everybody's stressed, and we're wanting to expect Jesus to do something powerful that day. Okay? But if we will come and get everything organized, that way the sound tech might not know how to fix the problem, but they'll be able to say to Christian, who's my resident guru right now, all right, for both campuses, they'll be able to say, hey, Christian, the background vocal monitor is not working right this morning. The frontline monitor is not working. This, that, or the other. In Jesus' name, everything's going to be working. But when you arrive at 9, that gives you 15 minutes to troubleshoot and make sure everything is functional. Does that make sense? Our multimedia techs, if you haven't come in earlier that week, that gives you an opportunity to start pulling all of the songs for that morning so that our singers that sometimes get amnesia, and unless you're a singer, you don't understand, but sometimes we can sing a song that we've been singing for 40 years, and we will forget that second stanza. So that our singers can have the lyrics on the back wall, we pull in all of those songs first. Okay? Pull all those songs in. Then, after those songs are pulled in, if you've got some extra time, you can start pulling in the scriptures and getting all those things ready, but building that service in the media computer. It is important that as we're rolling through these songs and we're practicing songs in rehearsal, that our media people are scrolling those words throughout the song, seeing how the worship leader is going to be prone to lead that song. We are prone to do things in repetition. So if we get to that part in the rehearsal of the tag, that we're really liking that bridge, that first line of that bridge, and we'll tag that thing over and over in a rehearsal. A media person needs to write it down and say, yeah, Carla really felt the bridge of Champion today. And needs to make a note of that so that they're ready when they feel that in a service as well. Okay? Gotta be ready for that. So likewise, the sound tech, if all of a sudden Carla is leading a song, and she's like, Pastor Jeff, I want you to lead this verse in that song. And it's outside the norm. The sound tech is paying attention and writes down, Pastor Jeff led verse number 1 in, well, we'll describe Champion in Champion. And they make that note. That way, when Carla looks at Jeff and Jeff starts singing, the sound person's like, oh crap, they're not doing that. They're ready. And they adjust the volume. Bingo, just like that. And everything's working like clockwork. Does that make sense? Okay, I've gotten through that. Sound techs arrive early to make sure that all the batteries are good in the microphones, so that we're not in the middle of rehearsal and everything's ready because the microphones have already been checked. Okay, this is also a big deal for us. It is very easy for confusion to abound in any church. So you have to think forward. You have to think ahead. So we've thought ahead, and the way we organize and structure our sound classes, or excuse me, our rehearsal schedules and our sound checks is that whoever the worship leader is, primarily it's going to be Carla, but if it's someone else, whoever the worship leader is the communicator between the booth and the stage. We don't have the keyboard say, yeah, I need some more of the drums, while the tenor is saying, I don't have near enough of me up here. And we have all this pandemonium, and one person that's back there turning 45 different knobs is not just holding a microphone or playing an instrument. They're doing multiple things all at the same time. So to make our sound tech's life a whole lot easier, they go one by one, and the keyboardist isn't trying to figure out his runs and everything, while the soloists are trying to get their settings. We go in order. So that worship leader is going to say, okay, whoever they start with, that's everybody else is quiet, and then we go to that singer, and they listen to the monitor first, and they get a good signal for the monitor, and then they keep checking their mic to then get a good signal for the house. Sometimes when you bring the house in, the singer will say, oh, wow, that's too loud. Well, now they can hear the house. And so we want them to understand it so we can back things down and get everything ready. So we go through all of everybody on stage. That's the reason why we started at 9:15, so that really we're able to start rehearsing songs at 9:30. But if you wait to get here until 9:15, then we're not ready to do sound check really until 9:20 or 9:30. And now we're pressing past 10 o'clock, and there needs to be zero rehearsal. This is the Bible. This is thus saith the lead pastor. There needs to be zero rehearsing after 10 o'clock. Okay? Zero. Because we don't want people walking in hearing what they're about to listen to. So that's the reason why sound check is not church service. It's sound check. All right? We want the presence of God, but we're not going to roll through our entire set list like it's a church service. First of all, we're going to wear our voices out, because if we do that and then we do one service and then God starts blessing Baker and we have to have multiple services and we have to have 3 services on a Sunday morning, the music team doesn't need to have time to sing 4 different services. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay? At the same time, we can get rolling, and then I would encourage Carla to do this. We get rolling, stop. Can everybody hear everything like they need to? Does anybody need anything extra tweaked? And we can roll with that, making sure that everything is, to the best of our ability, everything is where it needs to be prior to a service. I'm going fast. Have I said anything that you have a question about or that you want me to expound on before I move on? Ali's got a question.
I think it's important that everyone really realizes that to get here at 9 is at most important.
It's not an option.
Yeah, I mean, you can't roll in here.
If you want to serve in this ministry, you have to be here at that time. Absolutely.
So tardiness is not.
I'll never forget this. Pastor Rod Parsley, and this is years ago, he was a major voice that influenced my life. He was doing a praise and worship conference, and one of the persons came and they said, I've got 2 musicians, I've got 2 pianists. One pianist is always on time and always on point, but can't play with a lick. The other person is phenomenal, but doesn't show up on time for anything. And Pastor Parsley stepped up in front of the worship leader and said, I'm going to answer this one. And he said this, I would rather have silence than disobedience on my platform. That's huge. And it speaks volume, because rebellion is witchcraft. And we're not necessarily meaning to be rebellious, but when we don't show up until 9:30 or 9:45, that is rebellion. It goes against order, it goes against flow, and God can't bless it. So if we want to be blessed, then we have to flow in accordance to order. It sounds like bondage to me. No, this sounds like order. Okay? This sounds like structure. And God blesses order. Have you ever read what God said he wanted the temple to look like? He wanted everything to the specificity according to the plan. And when all of that was done, glory came. Glory does not come when there is disorder. And I know I'm losing y'all. I've just got to be honest with you. I've been doing this a long time. Okay? Media should be running the slides during rehearsal. I've already said that. All transitions, whether they're visual or audio, must be gradual and smooth, not abrupt. In other words, play that music that you were playing beforehand. Pull it up a little bit. Now just mute it. That is unacceptable. Okay? Unmute it. Gradually slide the sliders down. Isn't that smoother? That then gives whoever is in between an opportunity to start talking in the microphone, and nothing has been abrupt. It's just smooth transitions. The same thing with the screens. Back to just black? No, don't do that. Make a transition there. That's the reason why rehearsals are so important. Listen, you got to understand something. I am a guy that would normally be referred to as OCD or anal. Okay, is the way. If I'm in the audience, I'm going to pay attention to all of that. And I know I'm not the only person that's like that. Now, we don't need to cater to people that are like that. Otherwise, we'll never have any fun at all. Okay? We need to be able to have some flow and some lucid parts to loose parts, I guess I should say, to everything. But distractions, these kids, everything they do is on a screen. Right. And they pay attention to little things like that, and it will distract them. All right? Does that make sense? Aside from that, it's not excellent. Yeah. Rehearsals are so important. I already said this. When singers' mics, everybody's running sound, when singers' mics are not in hand, when Christian's not behind the keyboard, or whoever else is not behind the keyboard, or KJ is not behind the drums, or whoever's playing drums that morning, when they're not on those instruments and they're not holding those microphones, everything's muted. If the microphone is not in hand, it's muted, because it can become an opportunity to hear something that we don't want to hear, especially if it's in Pastor Lucius's face, because he's got his mic on and he's in the bathroom talking to Jeremy at the urinal. Okay? Yeah. That's never happened. That's never happened in this house, but I can tell you horror stories about pastors with lapel mics on in the bathroom, not realizing that their mics were on and not muted. Yeah. Horror stories. Horror stories. But listen, guys, it is important that unless there is a massive train wreck, and we have some incredible problems sound-wise and technologically, we do not need to be rehearsing past 10 o'clock. Okay, we just need to set that in stone, that everything needs to be done by 10. After sound check, this is important. After sound check, mute everything. Play pre-service music at a lower level, black out the stage lights, and dim the house lights. Okay? LV, put the lights like I like them, if you wouldn't mind. I think the mark should be on the house lights. And go ahead and black out the stage. That's what pre-service looks like. Why? Because it tells people automatically it's different in here than it is out there. Okay? This atmosphere right now causes people that are walking through the doors, the atmosphere tells people different sorts of things. Now, what it also does now, give me a little music. Give me something, change the song. I love our music and all, but give me something a little upbeat.
You want the lights still like this?
Yes, keep the lights just like this. Because after sound check, the sanctuary gets to this light setting, the stage is black, and now pre-service music is going, which I do want us to make sure that we're playing the right pre-service music, because pre-service music will help to set the atmosphere just like our rehearsal will. So no top 40, no rap, no CMA. I don't even want BG. I want to have praise and worship music going. Praise music that we do or songs that we're going to do. Yeah, don't give me that either. No, that's going to make people then want to just come in and be real solemn. And we don't want them screaming, but at the same time. Yeah. Still not. We could throw that in the middle of a set. But that's definitely not the way you start a service. You don't want that one for a countdown. Play Life. Play William McDowell's Life. William McDowell's Life.
As that giant was looking at us, I knew he was going to regret the day he ever pointed his sword at Jackson.
I love that testimony. All right, I don't want to waste time. Get that going and just, okay? Now, I'm gonna jump ahead. This is, turn up just a hair. That's perfect. This is good pre-service volume. This is good pre-service music. It's thumping, it's driving, it gets everybody where they need to be, which is praise. Now honestly, if we're gonna be biblical, we're supposed to enter his gates with thanksgiving in our hearts and enter his courts with praise. So we enter the property with thanksgiving in our hearts. We come through the doors of the church with praise, okay? But not everybody's as saved as they need to be yet, right? So, this is good service volume. But now it's the countdown. The countdown has started, so give me a little bit more volume. Now, some folks are talking, they haven't paid attention that the countdown is going, so our increase in volume slightly lets them know something has changed. Now they'll look and they'll see the countdown. So at the 5-minute mark, the music goes up just a little bit. At the 2.5-minute mark, give me a little more. That's good right there. That's at the 2.5-minute mark. Now, every singer, every musician, everybody's on stage at the 2.5-minute mark waiting for 0 to come. No one's running around the 30-second mark. We are all on stage at 2.5 minutes. At the minute mark, give me more. Give me more. 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 Service volume. That gives the congregation 1 minute to acclimate to service volume. Does that make sense? That way, you turn it down now. Yeah, turn it a little bit more. That way, they don't go from that, now fade it out, to this. God bless y'all, it's good to see us for it. Because sometimes we're really amped up and we start a service off really exhorting. Right. What did everybody do? Oh my God. It automatically caused there to be friction. Yeah. Because we weren't thinking ahead. Right. We get our volume where it needs to be at service time. then when the band, y'all can turn the lights up and everything now. Now, then when the band strikes, that's what happens when the band strikes their first note. The stage lights come up. Everything's unmuted once the musicians and singers are in place. Stage lights come up, and the music fades out. Music is building behind, and what is it? No, the house stays at the dim level throughout the duration. That's where it stays. That way you don't have to worry about that. It's all dim. Why? Why do we dim the house? Talk to me. It's a psychology thing. Why do we dim the house? It helps to create an atmosphere, but even more important than that, people can't see each other and be intimidated by one another. A dimmer atmosphere causes freedom. Two things: a dimmer atmosphere causes freedom, and volume causes freedom. Because not everybody can sing, but if the music's so loud that nobody can hear them, they're going to sing. I'm serious. There's a psychology behind praise. So that's the reason we dim the lights and we turn the music up to encourage participation. Okay? We want to be biblical. Any questions? No question. Man, I'm expecting some questions. All right. So, okay.
When the praise team is up there, we're at 2.5 million, 2.5 mark.
Yes.
And we're coming down to 20, 19, 18. I'm waiting with the lights to gently bring it up, and we've got a seamless transition of
Exactly.
the praise team stepping in.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we still want to have them start up as we bring down the music.
Absolutely. In my opinion, and we always try to do this anyway, at about the 10-second mark, the band needs to match the note, to match the key that music was in, and we match the tone a little bit, and then and we build so that it's just a gradual transition. So it's nothing abrupt, it's a gradual transition. Why? Because anything that's abrupt causes an emotional response that's usually negative. And we want to eliminate that to the best of our ability. Because there are automatically going to be things that the enemy tries to do to influence someone spiritually, that if we are removing everything we can on our end, it helps to take that, to diminish those abrupt transitions and so forth down. Okay? Sound people, huge, and multimedia people, you have to pay attention. Once the service gets started, so this is what I started to say for my media techs, my sound folks. The moment that pre-service is happening, you got about 20 minutes to go get a coffee, to go to the bathroom, to eat a snack, to high-five your neighbors and friends and see everybody. But at the 10-minute mark, everybody who's going to be in the booth needs to be in the booth, ready to go. So at the 5-minute mark, we're cooking with grease. We're not trying to find, where's our media tech today? And we're running all over the place, and they're out kissing their girlfriend in the parking lot. Because a lot of times teenagers are running multimedia, right? So we want to remedy that by having a policy and a standard where at the 10-minute mark before service, so that's at 10:20, the booth is stopped and we're ready to go. Okay? Same thing with singers and musicians. Sometimes I love y'all, but y'all are the worst. You just don't know what it is to be a worship leader and not know where your drummer is. Right. Oh my God. And for me, as the lead pastor, because I can play drums, I wind up running into the drum cage, doing a little trash can, waiting on the drummer to come. And I'm like, I don't need that stress. Just be in place. KJ never did that to me. Appreciate that. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's important to be in place. All of us working together, that team working together, is what creates the synergy and the atmosphere and what God can use in a church service. Okay? Are there any questions? All that's corporate. That includes a lot of people. We're gonna now shift and start doing some hands-on stuff. But before I do that, are there any other questions? Pastor Jeff.
I don't have a question, more of a comment than something I thought about as you just added what you said.
Yeah.
Holy Spirit said this to me one time, and I always remember with everything we do. If I look at something and say, man, that looks crazy, that looks weird, I know who Christ is. Imagine the person who doesn't know who Christ is, or imagine the battle they have in their hands.
Absolutely.
If I'm thinking that, and I'm the person that's coming to church every Sunday, and I'm doing that, imagine the person who doesn't come to church, imagine the battle that is being said in their head is probably 3 times as worse That's what I'm thinking, because I come here every Sunday.
Exactly.
You know, so that was kind of something, those specifics that make me put things in perspective.
Absolutely.
Small, and like, oh, imagine what that person who don't know who Christ who happened to get it, imagine what they're feeling.
And that is our entire thrust, because we want to reach the lost and the unchurched. We gear what we do towards the lost and the unchurched. I got people all the time say, well, do you do this kind of music? No, because I'm not after Christians. Now, I'm going to do praise and worship music that glorifies and edifies God, but I'm not going to do that because I don't even like that, much less some person off the street that doesn't know anything about God. Does that make sense? Okay, now, one other thing, and I seem like the bad guy when I say this, and I make people mad all the time, but I have seen children get hurt on stage. Get hurt. So I have a no children policy on the stage. Unless, like before, Christian was working with Carla's little grandson, when Christian is with him, working with him, I'm fine with that. But when we are in a practice mode, when we're in service mode, there's wires all over the place that they might not see. They can trip, bust their lip, and now all of a sudden we got to file an insurance claim because we were not diligent with our kids on the stage. This is a no kid zone. And I can say that because I never let my daughter up here. And she's mad at me to this day because of that. But I wouldn't. When I said, no, you're going to be a certain age when you sing on the stage. And that's kind of bit me in the butt a little bit, but I stuck to that, and I still believe in it. Not because I don't like kids. I love kids. And we want children to have productions up here and everything else. But on a regular basis, it's just so much. This microphone costs $500. Okay, if it drops and it busts the diaphragm, that's $500 just like that. That keyboard, which we need a new one already, that's a $2,500 keyboard. All it's got to do is just be hit the wrong way or whatever, and it stops working. A drum head costs $25 to $50, and you understand what I'm saying? At the same time, they could fall off. That's a 3.5 foot, almost a 4 foot drop. They could fall off. We just say it's a no kid zone. That makes sense? That's because I love children. I hope everybody understands that. It's not because I don't like kids. All right, any other questions? All right, who are my sound people tonight to run sound?
We only have 2, everybody else is running training.
Okay, I'm sorry. Who's here to be trained on sound? What?
Media and sound, right?
Say again?
Media and
Make
sound.
the distinction maybe for them, media.
Right, in other words, because Vanessa's going to be working with the media people. I'm going to be working with the sound people. So I want to understand, and KJ, I love you, but you got to play drums. So
He can learn. He can learn.
no, I get it, but I need you on stage. There's nobody else that can do that. One more time. Jeremy's okay. Anybody else? Everybody else is multimedia or running the computer? Raise your hand if you're multimedia.
Multimedia.
That's with the computer and the.
Raise your hand if you're just totally confused.
They're confused. You got to break it down some more.
Okay, all right. Let's go back. I know that there were 12 people that signed up to be trained tonight. Raise your hand. Okay.
I don't count, but
You count where it matters. You count on drums, definitely. Okay, all right. So of those 12 people, if you were planning to be available to run the soundboard,
Soundboard.
raise your hand.
Turn in
That's
knob.
Jeremy.
Microphones, let me sure they're loud.
All right. If you were gonna run the media computer, that's everybody else, right? Okay, all right. So what we'll do then is we'll start with sound, since the booth isn't big enough. We'll start with sound. We'll run through a sound check, all that other kind of stuff. And then we'll cook with grease. Okay. So I'm gonna have to just do this. I told the singers, I'm sorry guys, musicians, you're just gonna have to work with us tonight. It's gonna be a really wonky rehearsal. Sound guys, if you get here and no one's here and have already turned everything on, you need to learn how to turn it on. Okay? And so I'm gonna put this microphone down. No, I'm not. Everybody's gonna hear how to turn it on. So you get to the building and all these lights have to be turned off, obviously. And we turn them off gradually, otherwise we'll blow the bulbs. So we dim everything first, and then we turn it off. Otherwise it and you gotta hear the click.
Click.
Yeah, what is that music? What is that
That's your nerd
comedian?
sound too. I need it.
What's that comedian that says that? I didn't hear no click. Kevin Hart. He was riding roller coasters in Japan or whatever.
yeah.
So, I didn't hear no click.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, it just makes me laugh. So in other words, you're gonna push it down like this.
Yeah,
First,
click, click,
this one's always and then click.
or else they may as well be on.
Yeah, because you're gonna blow the bulb. Doing it fast. And in like fashion, when you come in, you only click it. You don't run it all the way up. Otherwise, that will blow the bulbs. Okay. All right. Then, obviously, when you're going to slide all those things up, where the black little notches are, that's where service level is. So you have little black notches. So you're going to pull the sliders down to those. Now, I will say this. Sometimes the booth can get dark. And so if you want to give a little bit more at the back to get yourself a little bit more light, you can do that. Okay? No, I hate those things. I know Pastor Lucius likes it. I say I hate those things. I want one, and I'm going to get one, but it's very different. It doesn't put the pressure on your temples. What?
I missed it. I just heard Lucius.
She wanted to give you my mic, and I said I don't want that mic.
Because he's holding and teaching and holding.
I'm so used to holding it. So, all right. So, what we're going to do, guys? Every pilot here. See that switch? Well, are y'all still powering, Pastor Lucius? Are y'all still powering down the juice goose, or you doing the board separate? Juice goose. That's what needs to be done. So that red light, that's the very first thing that you'll turn on when you get here.
Look at switch to the
No, it isn't.
so the switch on the back won't break.
To the bottom.
Yes.
That's right. We reversed it because of how things go. So when you sorry. Things had to shift, and I'm just remembering that. So you're gonna get here. You're gonna have to turn the lights on so you don't trip in the dark. I memorized where every chair was, though.
He's teaching them like exactly how to open it up. It's awesome. Look at
So
them
we're
all.
gonna roll into this room.
So then, just so that I clarify, we're gonna come in, bring the light up, and then we're gonna turn it on underneath, and then go back there.
And it's coming in, and then the regular process.
We'll start on its own. Like the soundboard will come on, and then we have to turn on the monitor.
Yes.
And then the white tower turns itself on, or we
That turns itself on.
when everything is powered up. And then it does its own thing to get ready.
Yes.
Okay.
So the only way it'll get cut off is if Lucius comes out. So that's the only.
So when we
That's
do
the
the electricity, when the breakers are turned down, that doesn't power down?
No, that won't power down until we do the thing at the bottom.
Okay, so that's the way to power it down. Why are you not in there? Why are you not in there? I've already learned it. Trust me, girl. I make sure he focuses. I love that he's legit walking me through step by step. Okay, what's he doing?
Slide out and it lights everything up, but the bulbs.
I didn't even know
Did that change? Doesn't that go on when you do the breakers?
Everything's lit up.
Yes, he was telling me make sure the things are on.
But isn't it always, or am I needing to do something
No,
new?
no, he's telling them to make sure that it's on. So if they miss
Because they all turn on.
he's trying to make sure they don't miss the break. So if they do on 2, they have like 6 breakers, they do 5.
Oh yeah,
That won't be on.
Just so like specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on a field trip.
It's
Love
like
the harvest band.
little ducklings following Daddy Duck. All right, get up there. Listen very closely. That's the master right there. I'm gonna actually listen.
Like I said earlier, this is a digital board. Okay, so it's just as much computer as it is sound. Here are all of your digital channels. You have sometimes I have things in here that want to do that. So you can erase it. But what you're gonna do is once the singers have their microphone, the Carla is gonna say, yeah, Pastor Jeff has L2.
We'll work on it.
That's gonna be this mic right here. So you're gonna unmute it. You're gonna unmute it.
And something else that we want to do, please. We rehearsed the girls.
Actually, thank you. Actually, it's two now. So, when you first started thinking for that, I've got my iPad up there with all my notes on it. Please, I don't want to forget anything. Once you turn the board on, wait for it to come on, and then you're gonna take this button right here, scene 2. And you're gonna hold it down. So it lights up. Scene 2. What that does, anytime anybody throughout the week came here to change something, it puts it right back to our settings. It takes everything back. It's exactly. Yep. So all of our EQ, all of the different things. So scene 2 is what we need to do. All we need to do for that. So that honestly, thank you for that. Yeah, so, that needs to happen. That needs to happen. Recall that scene. Now we're going through. Singers, hit the stage. Pastor Carla, do what you do. I've got the red mic here. I don't know who normally has that. Honestly, that is the best mic up there. Yeah, that's the best one. I muted it. So obviously, they must mute on this board. They mute everything.
Yeah.
So when you push the mute, it needs to monitor and our tactical cameras will do this because of the monitor stuff. Okay. All of your monitors are right here. You have your lead, your keys, your bass, your camera mix, which is aux for the mix, your drums, and acoustic guitar. Obviously, the bass, the acoustic guitar, it's not something that you have on a regular basis. Your lead, your front line, your keys, your camera, and your drums, you always have. Okay, so when they're wanting to check their monitors, Carla, let's start with you. Yes.
Do you want sound checks to be with the house off or the house on?
What I like to do is keep the master up and I pull the slider down.
That's the way we've been doing it.
Right, and then I unmute the lead line, and then I hit the mix for it. Okay, so this is your lead monitor. It's gonna be muted, you unmute it, and then you hit the mix button. And then it lets you know everything's gonna miss. You have your keys that are in the lead line, you have this microphone here, which is with 3, which is, S1 is in there, and then lead is in there. That's all the lead line. So obviously, you got the keys because they need to hear the keyboard. And then these singers right here are singers that lead out front. Go ahead and check it, Carla.
Mic check, mic check.
Are you in that monitor?
Mic check, mic check. Nope, I can't hear anything.
Or
Mic check, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2.
is it working?
I don't hear anything. Mic check. It was on a second ago.
Is it unmuted? Is it on the microphone?
It's unmuted. It's on, but it's not up. I can take one of them, which one is that? I think it's that blue. That one's that blue one.
The button, right? It's on.
Yeah, but it won't come in and out. It kind of
Does
mixed
she
up. check.
Step out in front.
This one? This is the one I used to have.
Yes, we have.
Mic check.
Step out front like
I
this.
might check.
Oh, we might so travel.
So it's not on those monitors.
Mic check.
No. Monitor's on, but
We're
nothing.
having issues with the microphone with
I can hear it there, but
Go ahead.
am I muted? Mic check, mic check. 1, 2. I can hear it a little bit here.
Yeah, now you hear it.
Mic check. 1, 2. 1, 2. Mic check.
Just a
mic
little. You can hear it in this.
check. Mic check. 1, 2. 1, 2. Yeah. Mic check, mic check.
Go back and make sure it's in the background now.
Mic check, mic check. Yes, I can hear it.
We got her back here.
Yes. Mic check. 1, 2. Mic check. 1, 2.
We could use a little more of her.
Yeah. We can turn it up a little bit.
For listening.
Yes. So we're starting with the monitors. So these
Mic check.
sliders are your house. Okay, that's only gonna affect the house. So you can turn top.
Mic check. 1,
So you
2.
can turn this all the way.
Mic
down.
check. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Mic check.
Okay. This is your lead, so that's your front wedges here in front of the boat table. And then your front line are all of your other wedges that are for the back. Okay, so that's this one, that's that one. Of course, you got the and then drums and loops that way down. But right now, we're wanting to make sure that the singer, the leader can hear themselves in the lead. We need to make sure that the group now can hear the leader in the back. And then,
Carla, will he let me hold it?
He can stay
Okay.
with mama.
Okay. Well,
He wanna get on stage. He love the microphone.
and the front line monitor's set. And now we'll set the house. Say it one more time, I'm sorry.
Mic check. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2.
Okay.
Mic
Is
check.
that good for you?
That's good. Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, so what I like to do is singers can do this if they want it louder, do this if they want it, and once it's perfect, it's okay. It's the tendency to say, it's good. Oh, you want it louder? No. This is okay, that's louder, that's less. All right. Yeah, those symbols are big time important. I'm gonna let Carla go first.
Oh, you need her to run?
Yeah, go ahead and run with it like you normally would. Let me show them what to do.
Mic check. 1, 2. He's giving me life. Okay, so I'm good. You want me to go through with everybody?
Let's do it.
Okay, Jennifer? I'm sorry, Tina. I'm so sorry. My bad. What mic you want? Soprano 1. Tina.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing. That's good.
Let me check the house.
Nothing is better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing.
But that should still do something.
Is that good? Is that okay?
That sound good to you?
No, hold on. Keep talking.
Was it good to you?
Well, he's saying, hold on.
Keep going.
He's saying,
See, I'm
I am.
muted the monitor.
There's nothing happening.
He must be doing something.
Oh, so.
Y'all playing? Oh,
There I am. That was really loud. Way too loud. That's better than you. Oh, that's not
So when you get the select
better than you. Oh, that's not.
that's all of your cues. And what Christian did was she was not she wasn't assigned a name, a subgroup, she wasn't assigned anything. Just like was in the house.
KJ.
Okay, which is why I said so
My
if
daughter's
you
still out there?
get something that's not working right,
Is my daughter still out there?
exactly. You say, Christian! It becomes right. Okay. I'm sorry. Let's go back to Tina. Your mic is not working in the house.
Oh, there's nothing
Now, you can tell the difference when it's the monitor.
better than you. Oh, there's.
I'm good or you good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Carla?
What are you on, Tanisha? Soprano 2, Tanisha.
I was just checking.
Try to get Tanisha, I'm sorry.
Oh, there's nothing better than you.
That's two, right?
There's not, yes.
Can you hear okay?
I can, oh, now I can, yes.
Got to turn it on.
There's nothing better than you, Lord, there's nothing.
More?
No, I'm saying, that's a thumbs up.
Give me an okay. Yes.
I don't know the signal.
I'm honestly, guys,
I
that's
never
what
saw that
I'm,
before.
you're good. You're good. That's what I'm teaching them. This is up. This is down. This is good.
Okay.
Okay. Let me keep checking you so I get the house.
And don't forget to communicate with Carla, so that we get that culture.
Yes. I'm breaking our protocol. I'm supposed to be talking to Carla. Carla,
Yes,
is
sir.
Tanisha okay?
Tanisha, yes, Carla. Yes, Tanisha is good.
Okay, let Tanisha know that I'm gonna check the house. So
Tanisha, you gonna check the house. Okay. Lord, there's nothing.
let me also clarify though, guys, this is a whole lot closer than the Jax campus.
Oh, yeah.
Our guys have to scream to talk to the people on stage. So we've done some things there that are a little bit different here, but we still like to make it not confusing. Still like to do most of our dialogue between the sound tech and Carla. Tanisha, go ahead though and check one more time so I can get the house set.
Nothing better than you, Lord, there's nothing.
You're good, thank you. I did it myself.
Oh my, I can tell.
Okay, 10, 2.
Hold on one second. You're divided into sopranos, altos, and tenors. Okay? Your sopranos are your high vocals. Your altos are your lower female vocals. And obviously your tenors. Tenors are really the high male, and then there's baritone and bass. But we just do soprano, alto, tenor. So tenors are men, altos are lower range. Sopranos are higher.
Late.
So that's the normal in sopranos, altos, tenors is normal. Okay, so we just check our sopranos. So when it comes to balancing, you don't want to ever, you're never going to win your Tanisha above everybody else. She needs to blend in with Tina, where you really can't differentiate between their voices. Okay, you're going to do the same thing with altos. The only voice that needs to stand out is your leader, is the lead singer's voice. Everything else you need to hear parts, not people. Okay?
Tenor 2 is for Sheikah. Tenor 2.
10 or 2?
That's what I
We
said.
don't have an alto?
We didn't take alto 1, I don't care. This is alto 2, but it's not working.
Oh,
It goes in and out.
The blue one
Yeah.
kind of goes in
Let
and
her
out.
take alto 1. Yeah, it's fine. I'm not sure.
Okay, so alto 1.
I can pretend
right,
to
but
be
that's always, it's always been that way. So that one.
Yes, what you said.
Oh, I know. And look at the red one used to be, which one? We need to get the blue one fixed. So baby, the blue one does work, is it on?
It's on, and it's unmuted.
Which one is that?
This is alto 2. Testing, testing.
Check, check, 1.
Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord, there's nothing better than you, Lord, there's nothing.
Can you hear the monitor?
Yeah, I think nothing is better than
Check, 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 1, 2, 1, 2.
Feel what that's like.
Check, check, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Where is that
Check.
like I had Friday?
Check, check. Oh, really? Yes. Okay.
Okay, so alto 1, Sheikah.
That might be the mark that we talked about.
Lord, there's nothing better than you. Lord, there's nothing better than you. Lord, there's nothing. Nothing is better than you.
Did you bring any mics from Jax?
Okay, that's good for Sheikah.
All right, hold on. It's not good for me though. Keep going.
Okay.
Lord, there's nothing
I love you, Sheikah.
better than you. Lord, there's nothing better than you. Lord, there's nothing.
Alto 2.
Is alto 2? Alto 1.
That's fine. You're good. One more time. Just say I love you, Pastor Dave.
I love you too. Nothing is better than you.
I got you. I was adjusting the wrong mic. I was having a 48-year-old woman. All right, we're moving on.
Tenor 2.
I will lift up my eyes to the hills, from whence cometh my help.
A little bit more.
My help cometh from the Lord.
A little bit more.
The Lord which made heaven and earth. He said he will not suffer the foot.
I mean, tenor 1.
I was gonna keep going. I was gonna lay it down.
We create a lot of stage voices.
Tenor 1. I have tenor 1.
Tenor 1 for Pastor Just.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks,
Go ahead, Pastor Just.
Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. I think that's actually that. I must use this on Sunday.
I think so.
Yeah, I think this. That sounds pretty. That sounds good.
Sing it to it though.
I searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. Man's empty praise, all treasures the faith.
That's good for you? That's
Is
good?
that too loud?
She says it's good.
Okay, he says it's good. Are we good?
We're good. We're good vocally. Run up there. Put them in C. Sing hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hold on. I might have pitched you wrong. Put them in C.
Drum.
Hallelujah. All right.
Just pray. Just go on. Yeah, just sing it.
Okay, good. Good, good. And she can hear with alto, right?
I was singing though. I did a little alto and a little bit of
Great kind. You're versatile.
That's what we gonna call it.
Right? Oh, look, there's no check for anything. 10
You always pass them. You said that.
What'd you do?
KJ.
KJ.
Tell me to do me a tribal beat.
Pastor said do a tribal beat. A tribal beat. You can't hear me?
You know, tribal beat.
Not 16.
Your great name. You sound like yes.
Are we learning songs tonight? Or are we just songs we already know?
Praise in the garden. We're gonna rehearse it.
But we know it.
We know it, yeah. We done that one, right?
We can wing it. We know.
I know with Jackson we done it. I don't think have we done it?
We done it. We done it here.
Yes. So we can rehearse it.
Okay.
Now the words. We know.
You're gonna do the lyrics, right?
You wanna try it, Pastor Joe? You wanna try it? I'm gonna agree with you.
definitely out here.
Okay,
Definitely.
yeah,
Any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay, we'll keep moving.
Okay. Let's try it again.
So what part did y'all do twice?
Right there.
Oh, that.
You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. Then we go to, oh, there's
You only can, I think, 3 songs. You're the only one. You're the only one. Yeah, you're the only one. So it's 3 times those 2 on the screen.
So we do it 3.
That's okay.
Okay. Right, okay.
She's asking about you turn beauty to ashes. We do that twice.
Right, the morning to dancing.
Morning to dancing.
Do that twice, and then the grades and the gardens part twice.
Now, sometimes they're good at their signals. Carla, do you use the signals? Do you use the hand signals?
Yes, that's
That's
going to the
bridge.
bridge. We tagging it. Back to the beginning.
Okay, all right, so she's going back.
Oh.
That's from the top, all the way to the top. Top, beginning, like, which one y'all prefer?
It's up to you.
I usually do this. Take it all the way to the back.
All right.
Yes, me.
Okay.
This means we tagging it. You're the only one who can. Then we go tag it. And then this is the bridge.
So this is the next one.
Bridge, crisscross. Bridge. Chorus. Yeah, chorus.
Can you turn me up in KJ's head when you say,
Tell him that.
I said
I'm
nothing.
kidding. I'm kidding.
I know. I need to hear what this means. I'm gonna have to listen to